Hello and welcome to the Cornhusker Cooldown. My name is Patrick Patio.
My name's Joe Mojojoe.
We're here for another week. We got a little bit of a new set. Let us know what you think, but we're going to kind of jump right into this first series that we had last week versus NDSU. A little rough, but I think it was showing some starting to show some good progress.
Yeah, just a lot more proactivity in general, doing stuff. Despite us losing, we still made plays that worked out sometimes. So
yeah, and I think like a big difference maker in those games was Green Guy. Green Guy was, in both games. In the first game, Gwen 8-3, really popping off, and they played around. Every single play was around him whenever they were doing well.
Yeah, and then I would say both the solo laners, him and Dreadfulness, did pretty well in lane. And then specifically game one, they had set in Yone, so side lanes became a problem.
Yeah.
And yeah, they just kind of won in most places, but we didn't go down dying like we did in ISU where we got nothing. We did get stuff. And
yeah, what did you think about the Yone Asol matchup? Because I know on stream we were like, this doesn't look great, and then it continued to not look great because it's Yone being Yone.
Yeah, Yone has it's a fine matchup for him. He just can't get poked out. And then once he hits a certain break point, I don't know when it would be, but it's just hard for Asol to really play into him.
Right.
Because the Yone, or the Asol can play at the distance, but Yone can very easily go through his E to close the distance to get on top of him. So.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think both games had a similar path to victory for NDSU, where it was a little bit of punishing mistakes in the bot lane.
Win lane, win game.
Win lane, win game. And I think, and just Green Guy having a really solid game. Game two on the Wukong as well.
Game two was a lot more just they just won lane and then they snowballed out. That there was a really good topside play we made. Got a few picks from there.
Yeah.
But overall, just a few too many mistakes here and there. So
that play, because you're talking about the later one where
there's a 5v2 or 3.
That was the one where I'm like, oh yes, we're starting to remember stuff. We're starting to put stuff together.
We might be able to win this game.
And then we didn't win the game. But you know what? We did win.
Augustana series.
We won a series versus Augustana. Let's go! We won 2-0.
Yes, we did.
Pretty much cleaner games than we've had, I think, even considering the LAN as well.
Yeah, they weren't the utmost cleanest games. There was a lot of silly deaths here and there, getting caught on side lanes, poor team fighting here and there. But overall, we won most of our lanes pretty convincingly, and then we got good plays, made the correct choices around objectives and side lanes most of the time. So overall, it was a pretty decisive win. Chet on the Victor was doing really, really well in game one. So
yeah, it was really clean. I really liked the matchup versus Vladimir. It was something that was looking like it could have been scary, but I think I assumed that the matchup was going to be pretty bad for Vladimir early, but we really held him to that.
Oh, well, Vladimir early just wouldn't win into Victor.
No, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, Vladimir would do poor into Victor. And then it was just going to be a matter of making sure we contained him, and I thought we contained him very well.
I'd say if Augustana's players specifically individually were better and put up more of a fight in lane, or just more even in lane, that could have been a little bit scary considering team comps. It's the Gwen and Vladimir could have done a lot, and the Gwen was doing as much as she could. Yeah, she was. There's this one fight where it's everyone in Augustana died except for the Gwen, and then Gwen one-shot 2 people.
That was Tribush right after Dragon, or right after Dragon?
Near Dragon.
Near Dragon.
But yeah, she was doing a lot of damage, and I think if Augustana could have played better both individually and as a team, could have been a lot more scary. So
yeah, 100%. And I think that the fact that our entire comp was go in and theirs was survive them going in means that we kind of play into their comp a little bit in terms of, at least in the Gwen and Vladimir section of it. They're really good at absorbing that pressure that we can jump in on.
Vladimir does do that well. I think he would preferably want to just
assassinate. And
go and kill the Varus and Victor at the same time with the R and the E.
yeah.
So, yeah, pretty good game 1. And then game 2, we played our classic Tristana, Braum, Sejuani, Ornfue. So a lot of tanks. We did decent on everything. The Tristana went 15-2, if I remember. Real stat boosting game for you, Preston.
Yeah. Come on. And we need those stats.
We didn't need stats.
We need-
Everyone is above a 1 KDA now.
That's honestly that's why we played.
Yep.
Is for our KDA.
Yes, it is.
That's all we need.
Yeah.
What do you think about I know that. Where are you sitting on the Tristana pick right now? I know that's been something that.
It's fine. I just think when it comes to higher level teams, it's not gonna be as effective.
And when you say higher level teams, do you mean
I mean
NDSU, ISU, or
NDSU,
do you mean
ISU.
higher?
I think like against NDSU and honestly 2 other teams. Actually, no, only one other team in the league. I'd say. It's like really.
After NDSU and ISU, I'm assuming.
Yeah, there's only I would put ISU in a different tier than the rest of them. Or it's sort of like last semester where it's like us being number 1, super far ahead. ISU this semester feels super far ahead against everyone else.
Right.
And I don't think it'll work against them. And I don't think it works against NDSU and another team. Where it's just like a little bit of the champion has a worse early game than she used to be. And then she has a better late game though. But overall, it's like I'd still pick a Jinx or a Smolder or a Kog'Maw or a few of these other picks. They're like true hyper game late game carries over the Tristana. The Tristana's not bad, I would say.
Yeah. And I think it does fit into kind of the more aggressive style that we currently are gravitating for.
Kind of, yeah.
Gravitate towards this heavy go-ins. It kind of feels like it functions similarly to a Kai'Sa. They're not the same. I want that to be clear.
They're not.
But they're both like heavy engage, and I think that pairs well. And I think that's something that I think we're starting to realize is that like once we get an identity, we can dig deeper into that.
I do like us having more consistent picks with the identity.
Yeah.
I do think Kai'Sa would be better than Tristana, but maybe that's just like at the highest levels, Kai'Sa would be better. I had another thing. Oh, yeah. Sejuani flex pick, I'd assume, from the top jungle. We picked it B3, and then we picked the Or and B4 after the ban phase. So
Yeah. I was definitely expecting the Sejuani to be top.
I was expecting it too.
But I very much, I love the flexibility. Being able to have something like that is definitely a good tool in the arsenal to have, is to have some kind of mystery with what we're going to pick.
Yeah. I would say as well, I think Augustin did okay in this game. They had Misfortune, Rel, Lilia, Shen, Mel. The Mel got a few kills and a couple 1-for-1 trades in the mid lane.
Those were so awesome. It was just, we would just pan mid lane and then they both die.
They would both die.
It happened at probably like 2 times, but it felt like it happened like 8.
Happened. So first blood, the Mel got it, and the Sejuani got the kill, and then 2 times in a row, Mel would ult at the same time, like the Hui passive would go, and they'd both die.
Yep.
So.
That.
But Mel got pretty fed, and then Lilia, Misfortune were not doing that bad.
Yeah.
So I think there's definitely a lot that we can learn from this series.
Yeah.
We didn't play our cleanest games ever, but I'm just glad that we look like we're a lot more proactive, a lot more comfortable on these champions now, making good plays. So.
I mean, yeah, I feel like we're starting to pull it together at the right time. I mean, we did face.
The right time would have been a few weeks ago.
Well, I mean, the right time is at the beginning, but like, you know, the if it's
the old proverb.
Better now than later. You know,
Yes.
we want to do it now. But I mean, the first 2 teams were the hardest teams that we had on in the entire.
The 2 best teams, essentially.
So, I wouldn't be that surprised if we keep improving and we end up going winless for the rest of the season, or not winless.
You heard it here first.
If we win the rest of our series.
Yeah, I think we definitely
could.
There's gonna be some tough games, but
yeah, it would definitely not be
to
be expected.
Yeah,
but wouldn't be that big of a shock.
I mean, we do play USD next week, so that should be a team that we should be able to win.
Yes.
But the next, the last 2 games, or the last 3 games we play, all are in that like sphere of winnable.
Yeah.
But also,
I think
very
those are going
much
to be the where are we. The first
Yeah.
2 were we probably should lose.
the first 2
Or we
are
wanna
like are we as good as last semester?
Yeah.
And the answer was no. And then
The next 2,
these middle 2 games were like
we should just win.
we should win. And then the last 3 games are like the
Where are we?
yeah. I mean, it's trying to solidify that we aren't like towards the bottom of the top tier, I'd say.
Yeah. And I think we'll.
Or I'd say the bottom of the middle tier, to be fair. We can go over it
Yeah.
in power rankings.
We
But
will. We'll hit it when we hit it. But we do.
we have a mini game.
We got a mini game. We have some matchups that we're
I don't think we came up with official name. It's going to be to counter or to be countered.
to counter or be countered. Trying to figure out who can have just an instinct on which matchup is going to go better.
Yeah, so we're doing it by win rate
By
into
win
each
rate.
other.
Mhm.
1 for each roll, top to bot.
Top to bot,
So we're going to guess just the champion.
just the champion. We'll move on from there.
Yeah.
But first one up, top lane, Quinn versus Yorick.
Ooh.
I mean, I got my guess.
I'm not sure. I'm thinking about it. I will lock in my guess.
I got mine.
I have Yorick.
I have Yorick.
'Kay.
Because I'm just thinking because Yorick mains are psycho and split pushing is OP.
Yeah, I think Quinn as a champion isn't super strong as well. So that probably plays into it. And then Yorick is doing better than usual, I think, though in the jungle specifically. And then the idea of like, I think when we hit the later, like mid to later portions, I think Yorick will just win through split push, and then Quinn is just not going to be as useful.
Yeah, well,
Ooh.
54.
Okay.
That's not even insignificant. That's
Yeah, so I would assume it's just because of her lane bully.
Just laning, yeah.
And then
I guess, yeah, she can match. She can match split.
She can match Yorick and then roam a lot faster.
Right.
So that would be the. I didn't think about the lane dominance, obviously, but I thought Quinn's not good enough to be. But
That, sucks. Sucks to be Kane versus Rengar.
oh, I should ask a clarifying question if our producer wants to run out here.
Well, I guess we'll find out.
Okay, so are these win rates Emerald Plus, or are they all ranks?
These are Emerald.
Emerald?
Emerald Plus, okay.
Emerald Plus.
Emerald Plus.
So I have my guess then, yeah.
That doesn't help me. But I'm gonna, since you already got yours locked in, I'm kind of thinking about which is gonna have more stompy games at higher levels, and I can't imagine it's Kane.
Yeah, mine is going to be Rengar.
Yeah, okay. Oh gosh.
I think if it was all Elos, I'd actually do Kane because
Right.
I think Kane is a lot more consistent. But I'm saying Rengar, so.
Yeah, I'll stick with my guess of Rengar.
Ooh.
We're terrible at this.
Maybe
We're bad.
there's too many griefer Rengars.
Maybe. I thought. I don't know.
I'd say.
Dude,
I think that one feels a little bit more
it's
50-50.
Oh, it's 52.
Well,
it's 52.
true.
It's 52.5, 47.5.
Yeah.
Math.
Yeah, maybe Kane's just a little more consistent, but
Maybe. Hey, maybe we're just bad at this. Zed versus.
I thought this would be one. All right, we both have our answer, right?
Chat. I'm sorry.
We
I
both have our answer,
apologize.
right?
Huh?
Both of us have the answer.
I'm gonna have a different answer than you.
It's Ari.
I'm gonna say Zed. It's wrong though, but I really want it to be right.
Yeah, this man likes to pick Zed into Ari.
I did it one time. I was really hoping that it was just gonna swing the other way. We've been doing it wrong this whole time. I tried to switch it up.
Yeah.
Apparently, I just want to lose. That's why I'll pick Zed and Ari. Gosh dang it! All right, here we go. Samira versus.
Oh, I have my answer. Actually, yeah. This could be weird, though. I could see it going both ways, but
I hope it's like a 60%.
my
It's not going to be, but
my from what I know from statistics of 80 carries. Do you have your answer?
not yet.
Okay. From what I know from win rates of 80 carries by looking at them as an 80 carry player, I know what should be.
I would just imagine that. So you have yours.
Yeah, I have my answer.
Because I'm leaning towards Nyla,
I
just because it's going to be more one tricky. Even though Samir is already pretty one tricky, it just yeah.
So, as far as I understand, Nyla always has like really, really good win rates into every champion bot lane.
No.
I'm not sure about Samira because it's a very niche matchup and feels like one of the ones that she could lose, but I would say Nyla. So,
Well, I think I have to go for Samira if I want a chance at winning.
yeah.
So I'm going to go with Samira.
Nearly 60.
That's fair. That's fair. I did basically say that. Well, this one, luckily the support's worth 5 points.
Oh, no, it's not.
It's not worth 5
Well,
points.
maybe the 80 carry is worth 5 points because I'm an 80 carry, right?
No, well, that means I get
Ooh. Okay.
it. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Pantheon versus Camille.
Oh, this is a super niche
Ooh.
one.
Ooh. Kind of want to. I want to guess the percentage for 2 extra
What?
points. I'm not gonna get it.
No.
They're not gonna let me do that. But
I'll guess the percentage with you, but we won't do points.
we won't do points. But
So I want to think about this in the idea of Camille in lane is going to struggle a little bit more because her E's going to always get canceled by Pantheon
yeah.
or blocked. I don't know how.
Ideally, it should every single time. This is Emerald Plus, so yeah.
It should. Pantheon.
It has to be Pantheon. I feel like he's going to get way more value out of the lower cost items than Camille is. Mm-hmm. The ult is going to be like okay.
I think both.
Or Camille's
Honestly,
ult
depends. I would say it depends on who they're playing with as well. Because both these champions really want the all-in. Callista, Samira, Nyla.
I think just Pantheon's just going to do better at his job.
I think. I feel
would
like
hope so.
Pantheon does feel better. In lane, it seems better in my
lane,
head.
in roaming, I think
I think
even in team fights, it's just going to take so long for Camille to be online.
Yeah.
She's not going to have the income for it.
She's not gonna have the income. Is there anything else? What would I say would be Camille's? Obviously our lockdown is better for Camille than Pantheon's. It's more reliable as well.
Sure.
Engage length is better with the E.
I'm saying like 56% towards
56?
Pantheon though.
I am gonna go Camille with like a 50.5.
Don't you dare.
Ooh, 57.
I was close. I know my supports.
Honestly, I think it could go either way.
I could
think-
see Camille being
I think it'd
a
be
good
interesting.
situational pick.
Yes,
but
I think it'd
Pantheon
be
having a higher
interesting to see it compared to the top lane. Because I think Camille should win the top lane matchup. Maybe not
Yeah.
in lane, but in mid to late, she'll be more useful.
Yeah.
But I think support Pantheon does make more sense.
Yeah.
So.
Well, there we go. The status quo has not changed. Joe is now up 3-0.
3-0.
I can't count that. I mean, I can't count how many
we could
points I
count
have.
4-0.
No, that's not part of the rules that our producer has put.
Okay.
So, gotta make sure we follow what's written, you know. But we had some games last week.
Yes, we did.
Obviously, we already covered our games, but we had some catch-up games.
Yes, we did. ISU played 2 games, both 2-0s. There's a typo. NDSU did not win 2 games.
It was a
against
2-2 series.
Yeah, 2-2.
It's a sneak peek into playoffs.
Grand finals.
Grand finals.
Grand finals are going to be 2-2.
It's 2-2. I don't hate that.
That would be pretty fun.
I don't
You might
hate
be
that.
casting it.
Oh no, please. That'd be so late again.
Probably not as late as last semester.
Probably
where
not.
it went till 2 a.m.-ish.
That was
But
really late.
ISU won 2-0 versus NDSU and 2-0 versus DSU.
Yeah.
Very impressive wins.
Yeah, I mean, very, very dominant. This is what we were expecting, but in 1 week, all of a sudden, they're now 4-0 against NDSU and DSU.
Oh, yeah. I don't know if it happened last weekend, but ISU and DSU play in CLO playoffs. If it happened last week,
We missed it. I didn't watch
I
it.
guess I didn't check, but if it happens this weekend, I hope it's streamed. So, and then SDSMT pretty clean 2-0 versus USD, pretty expected, and the same. Or NDSU JV played DSU and 2-0'd them.
Yeah.
I think
Kind of surprising to see DSU do. I was definitely expecting more from DSU.
yeah.
They're always pretty high performers, and the roster is pretty much the same.
I think they have a new support, right?
Yeah. It's not full same, but they still have Melmo. They still have Fuyu. They still have
Thunder Spartan,
Thunder Spartan.
Tankize is there?
Tenkize is there. Yeah.
I think all four of them. They made land last few semesters.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So, and I think that kind of shows in our power rankings a little bit. Because
We both have ISU number 1, pretty convincingly.
wow, what a shocker!
And we both have NDSU number 2.
What a shocker!
But after that, it does get a little bit more spicy.
We do.
I have NDSU JV number 3.
Number 3.
I mean,
they have been looking pretty good.
Yep.
I mean, what else? What's kind of catching your eye on why you'd put them above?
Well, obviously they 2-0 DSU, which is pretty impressive win. But then overall, they just rank-wise, they are on par with us, SDSMT, DSU, and they've had clean wins. And because of that, I just have a lot more faith in how they've been playing, especially because I presume they have roughly the same coaching staff as the varsity team would, and DSU's varsity team is always pretty consistently good. So I think I put a lot of stock in just the idea of they're consistent. And they did bring down, so they beat Meduna as their mid laner, which is varsity's mid laner from last semester, which is pretty good. So
yeah, if we can just talk about your number 4, because I also have them as number 4 I have right after NDSU JV. Ignore the numbers. We're gonna fix it.
yeah,
SDSMT. Both of us have them just under NDSU JV.
yes, you have us third.
I have us 3rd.
So, I mean, I will say, okay, we can talk about the tiers for now. So, I think ISU is in their own tier, and then it's NDSU is kind of in their own tier as well.
Yeah, I would group them together
As
just knowing that ISU is above NDSU.
Yeah, they're clearly number 1, but they're in the same tier then.
Yeah,
Because we expect this to be the finals at this point right now.
essentially, yeah.
Yeah, and then that next tier is the NDSU JV, SDSMT, us, and then DSU White.
Yeah, all 4.
All 4.
Which I think is the largest middle group we've had in CCL in a long time.
Yeah, because usually in CCL there's it's more of a split of there's a top half and a bottom half, and right now it feels like there's a top, a bottom, and then a big old middle.
Yeah.
So.
Which is going to make it really interesting for LAN.
Yes, because only 4 teams will qualify for LAN, and then
and if we think 6 teams are capable of making it to LAN, which actually even Augustana, I mean, they didn't qualify last year, but they did play at LAN. So that means 7 teams have the capability of being at LAN. Only 4 making it. It's gonna make that really exciting.
I think 6 teams are up in contention for getting there by qualifying.
Yeah.
I would say, I just think for me, STSMT's mid jungle, both are really, really good. Mid is hit GM, plays in NACL, or played. I don't know if he's got knocked out. And then their jungle's master, Peak, can carry games really well. I do worry about their bot lane and top lane a little bit. Top lane's okay, but overall it's against some of the other teams like DSU and us, I can see mid jungle just getting out of control and winning them the game.
Yeah.
So that's why I have them ranked higher.
Yeah. I think the reason why I have us a little bit higher and why
Strength of schedule?
partially strength of schedule, but also because I feel like a bunch of the chinks in SDSMT's armor are very similar to ISU's armor last year. where they had a couple really strong pieces and then some weakness surrounding them versus, I mean, like, and that's what it feels like with SDSMT as and ISU. They made it to LAN, but they
Couldn't go.
They couldn't go, but it didn't feel like they were like cemented into LAN the way that it feels like some of how they should, and I feel like SDSMT might have a similar issue with that.
Yeah, I would say like 3 through 6 for both of us are kind of like, we could see these teams being shuffled around a lot.
Yeah.
And it'd be fine. I could see DSU White being towards that 3 or 4 spot. They just haven't shown that they are there yet. So.
And the recent performance, the way, or at least in scoreline, the way that it appears that they've lost is not what I would expect from them. I always expect Melmo to perform, especially more than he did in the last 2 games. So I'm not sure where the difference is, if it is in the support or what's going on down there, but that is definitely why I brought them down a little bit further.
Yeah, both have DSU at 6. I have us at 5th just because, I think NDSU JV is good. I think SCSMT can beat us, specifically through their mid jungle. And then, I mean, Augustana USD 7th, 8th, as usual. Anything else you want to say?
No, I think that pretty much covers it.
Yeah, I would say one last thing I'd suppose is the comparison to ISU makes sense with like the idea of ISU had really good players, or 2 really good players last semester that would carry them. Or as opposed to this one, it feels like they're 2 really good players on SCSMT do genuinely play those carries and do really well in most games. Yeah. So I would put a little more stock into this SCSMT team versus last semester's ISU team just because of that. So
that's fair. That's fair. But up next, we have next week in CCL is nothing. But in 2 weeks. We will have week 5. We'll be playing against USD.
Should be an easy dub.
Should be a quick 2-0. But then we have DSU White versus SDSMT. Or should be a very, very good matchup.
Very interesting. It'll tell a lot about both teams because if DSU gets stomped again, I mean, they would definitely not be in contention for a land spot at that point. So
they would have to. Not that they couldn't make it.
They couldn't make it, but I'd definitely be surprised if they would end up winning the quarterfinals. So
but I think if SDSMT, I think if SDSMT can have a clean win versus DSU, my doubt would fade away very quickly. So we'll have to see.
We have the NDSU showdown between the JV and varsity. It's going to be very funny.
Yeah.
Because you want your varsity team to be better, but their JV team's not that bad. So
yeah, I do think their varsity team is better though.
Their varsity team is better.
Their varsity team is better.
But we'll see. But last one, ISU Augustana, going to be pretty clean from ISU. If they've been able to beat the top teams, they can beat the bottom team, right? But
that would be a banger.
Predictions. I have STSMT winning 2-1. I do think a 2-0 is in the cards with the way DSU's been playing, but I do think that at least one game, they should be able to exploit STSMT's ball line. So
yeah, I had also put STSMT 2-1, though I do think it's around this time that DSU have turned on the burners before, and I would not be shocked if suddenly Tenkize and Melmo start popping off and start really coming into form. Because it's around this time where they're like, oh
yeah, we have to play.
It's gonna be at our land. We have to be here.
Very funny if they didn't qualify for a land that they're hosting.
I feel like they wouldn't find it very funny.
Evan might.
Evan might find it a little funny. Well, I mean, they're gonna qualify in their other games for sure.
Yeah, they should.
But
we should qualify in Rocket League as well. Noe, Creed, Promising.
What a roster.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I do imagine that SDSMT are going to win 2-1, but I would be more shocked in a SDSMT 2-0 than a DSU 2-0. Not that I don't think either are possible. I think both of them are very possible. I just think that DSU turning it on is decently likely.
Yeah, I think this series can go either way into both extremes. So
Yeah. But I hope it's a 3-game banger. I really hope so.
and I hope it's streamed. Coach D, you know what to do.
He does.
For the NDSU showdown, I have varsity winning 2-1.
It's gonna be a 2-0, and we all know it. It's gonna be a 2-0.
He says we all know it, but does he actually know that
I mean, of
JV's
course,
going to win? Our JV won a game against our varsity.
I mean, sure. I think that was lots of other things had to happen
Okay.
for that to exist. I would imagine this is going to be a very good series, but it's still going to go 2-0 for
Okay.
NDSU varsity.
You think it's going to be somewhat close games, but like 30 to 35 minute games?
I think so. I think this is going to be more competitive. I think this is going to be slightly more competitive than our games versus their varsity,
Okay.
is what I would imagine.
So, yeah. And then
ISU.
ISU wins 2-0.
ISU 2-0. Not,
And then,
Yeah.
so we're recording this later
yeah.
than usual because of the power outage.
Yeah, there was a blizzard here in Nebraska, so we had all the power went out here. So that means that we're recording this on Thursday,
Yeah.
and that does mean that we got to see JV play.
Win a game.
They won a game, Husker Scarlet.
As soon as he's not coaching, they
Okay.
can win.
No, what? It's true. No, it's. I'm very happy that they were able to actually secure this win, especially in the way that they did.
Yeah, because when Isaac joined to start playing for them, top lane, I was expecting him to be like, obviously we're going to be a lot better with him. And then I was expecting when we do win games, it's going to be mostly through him. But I feel like in most of these games, I think Noah did really well,
Yeah.
especially on the Pantheon support.
Yeah, Noah was popping off.
And then Cooper on the Zinzao was doing decent. The Volley Bear did get a little bit out of control, but it wasn't completely his fault. And then I think all 5 players had good moments, good games.
Yeah.
Isaac dying, level 1, game 1. My varsity top laner.
I feel like he died early all 3 games, if I'm remembering right. He might not have. Maybe it was just flash early, at least. But he did always bring it back and was a good maker in the game. But yeah, no, I'd say the team was really pulling it together.
Yeah, they had the best games that I've seen in a long time.
Yeah, definitely. There's still lots of things that we need to clean up.
Oh yeah, I mean,
lots of just being in the wrong place at the wrong time. I think some of our team fights are still quite poor.
Our team fight and our positioning needs a lot of work. Our builds need work. Banshee's second on Azir. I don't know. You're sacrificing damage for safety when you don't really need the safety.
I mean, he avoided a gank.
Avoided one gank where he flashed unnecessarily.
That's true. But he did avoid the gank.
Even
though
gank.
you could have just backed up a little bit.
If I remember correctly, he still had W and E. Didn't need to flash.
It's all good.
But it's fine. You were doing well for most of that game as well.
Yeah, doing pretty good on the Azir.
Yeah, I
Really
think
popping off.
overall, encouraging games. The Warwick was doing really well, surprisingly. I think our Game 3 comp was a bit scuffed.
I mean, it's Game 3 into Fearless.
Game 3 into Fearless, and with somewhat limited champ pools. Both their teams have limited champ pools. But I think our JV team has a bit more. When you get to the 3rd or 4th champions, it becomes a little bit more out of left field.
Yeah, a little more off meta. But also, I do enjoy off. Whenever you get to the lower ranks, off meta is not very. There is not really a meta at lower ranks. There is.
There's some more reliable picks. Yeah.
There's more reliable picks, but
Warwick.
That does not mean that the reliable picks will be reliable in everyone's hands.
No.
And some unreliable picks will be more reliable in certain people's hands.
Sure.
So we saw it with the Warwick. I mean, it really popped off. 8-1.
Yeah.
Congrats. Did great on it. So.
I think, overall we did pretty well. We could have won game 2 as well. We won 2-1.
2-1.
I don't think we mentioned it.
We won game 1. It was looking a little scary in game 1.
Game 1
gotta say.
was looking scary.
That Lux
got pretty fed. Volley Bear was
Volibear was a monster.
He was a monster. And then yeah, we had some pretty good fights. I think that was the Hui game, right? Hui got a few kills here and there.
Yeah.
Isaac started to get back into the game after dying level 1.
Yeah.
So, yeah, overall pretty good games, entertaining games.
Yeah.
But a lot of obvious mistakes that we can work on. So.
Yeah, and I mean, they definitely. I very much enjoy the passion of this JV team right now. They seem pretty focused, and I'm hoping to see how that's going to translate moving forward. I know they have another game on Saturday.
We should be streaming it.
We should be streaming it. I don't know if this is with how late we're recording this. I'm not sure if this is going to come out. I'm not sure exactly which day this come out. Hopefully, this is still normal time. But maybe not.
Maybe.
This will come out on time.
This will come out. This is going to come out on time.
Less
So
than
on
24 hour
for
what do you
turnaround.
turnaround? Yes.
So Saturday, JV will be playing. We'll be streaming that
tomorrow
at
at 7.
I don't think we had a time yet.
7 p.m. a time within the U.S.
It's a pretty safe guess. And then obviously no CCL game next week.
Yep.
So
No CCL game next week. LeBron, scream if you love Cornhusker Cooldown.
I love it. I love that we're doing those. So thank you guys so much for watching. Stay tuned for more games, more Cornhusker Cooldown. We will be back again next week.
Yes, we will. With a special guest.
Potentially.
Yeah.
We will have a guest for sure.
We'll have a guest for sure.
But yeah. Thank you guys so much for watching. Have a good day.